Hi everybody and welcome to the February edition of Price Know-How Snippets. As usual, I'm with Mike and Ian. Mike's going to start us off by talking about some of the fundamentals that have affected the market and feedstock pricing, and then Ian's going to talk about that impact in terms of polymers. So Mike, over to you first of all.
Yeah, thanks, Katherine. So starting off with crude oil, it's been pretty quiet actually over the last couple of months. So in December, we saw an average price per barrel in dollars of about 81.53. The range was from a minimum of 76.1 to 86.88 as a maximum. In January, against that 81.53, we actually saw a small increase up to 83.95 with a minimum of 77.84. Maximum of 89.112. So similar sort of range there, so similar volatility. If you want to look at that in price per ton in pounds, then the average price in December was around about £505 per ton, and that went up to about £517 in January. And as Ian comes on to talk about monomers and feedstocks, I'm sure that that will feature to some extent in his conversation. On the exchange rate front, again, pretty quiet actually. We saw a small reduction of the value of the pound against the euro. So we fell from 1.15 in December to 1.14 in January. Against the dollar, pretty stable, 1.22 in December, 1.22 in January. And that's probably a reflection of slight weakness in the dollar at the moment. So that's the story there. And over to Ian now to talk about feedstocks and monomers. So Ian, over to you.
Oh, many thanks, Mike. Monomers saw increases going from January into February. So ethylene C2 rose €85 to 1,260 euros per metric ton. Propylene C3 slightly less at €80 a ton, increase up to 1,155 euros per metric ton. Those increases slightly beyond some market expectations, which sort of forecast a 50 to 70 euro increase. As Mike spoke about oil prices, so it's kind of been driven by naphtha. Naphtha prices sort of from the start of January through to the end of January rose quite considerably in the region of $130 a ton. It's kind of been driven by the cost of naphtha. Naphtha is going to stay relatively high. I think we got Russian sanctions about to be imposed, which means that the EU countries can no longer buy it. So there's going to be different sources to secure naphtha to crack and generate monomers. In terms of what's happened with pricing for polymers, it's a mixed bag so far early in the month, but essentially it's going to be somewhere in the region of plus 50 euros to plus monomer. So we've not seen anybody attempt to go for an increase higher than monomer. That's the most that anybody's tried so far. I think there is some pragmatism with those who are looking for 50, 60 euros, that it's a bit of a balance between, yes, there's cost pressures, but also we're still seeing relatively weak demand, although we anticipate demand picking up later in the year. And we've got, a very well supplied picture, good levels of imports from around the world. So meaning that you've got this challenge between the two opposing factors. So costs are going up, but demand still remains relatively weak. So I think overall through the month, we're looking at an increase in the region of around about 50, 60 euros a ton. So thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Ian. Thanks to you, Mike. As always, if you do want any information in terms of polymer prices, please don't hesitate to get in touch with your customer service team. More information will be out in our full Price Know-How report around the middle of the month. Thanks very much.
And just to add to Katherine's comments there, we recently published the review of 2022, an outlook for 2023. So that's a complete review of the 12 months, looking at all the key drivers of polymer prices, looking at the economic backdrop, and trying to give you some indications of what might be happening in the year ahead. So again, that's available through the website, or talk to your sales representative, and we'd be pleased to share that with you.
Thanks very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.